Mario! How dare you disturb my family vacation?
Hello and welcome to the Warp Shelf. I'm Frank Duran.
I'm Deshaun Vasquez.
And today, it's another Filthy Casual episode. Filthy Casual 3. The filthiest.
Filthy Casual with a vengeance.
We always fight over what's going to be the better subtitle on these things because it's fun. It's fun to add these things. So we're doing another Filthy Casual because we like these. I like doing these. And why every other podcast does these episodes, why the fuck can't we?
Yeah, this is more or less what every other podcast just is.
Yes. But we still like to give you that, sort of video essay film content, you know?
Yeah,
so
again, sort of more deep dives onto specific topics.
Yeah, we want to try to concentrate on those, but still give you the weekly podcast. So that's what this Filthy Casual things are about. But also, it's also about us giving these tiny mini reviews of things we're doing, you know? I think that's the most important
and for us to catch up.
Yeah, exactly. So, how you doing, bud? What's up?
I'm doing all right. Previously on the Metroid Marathon, I'm almost done with Prime.
Yeah, are you serious already?
I'm almost done with Prime.
But hold on, you got to tell them what you did to get Prime to work.
Well, not so much to get to work, because I played most of it on my GameCube, and it looked like garbage. I just bared with it. I knew I was going to have to do something about Metroid Prime 3, because I'm like, I've started the Prime games. I'm going to finish them. Yeah. 3 is only on the Wii. I don't have a Wii. I guess I'm getting a Wii. And
you're going to be so upset.
It was some...
also, we're dropping the Prime collection
now.
This Christmas, you know,
It's also one of those things where they just drag their feet all the damn time. But it was just one of those things where, okay, not only... This is a benefit for me, because not only will I be able to actually play Prime 3, but GameCube games on the Wii using the component cables will look much better. So I just thought about it like that. So it'll also just retroactively make all my other GameCube games look much better, and it does. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I got a Wii. I got one for like $40.
That's not bad.
Backwards compatible with the GameCube. I got a Wii Motion Plus controller and everything else I needed. Yeah, the only thing I don't have is a nunchuck for right now. I just saved that for later when I need it. How are you going to play
Red Steel, bro? How are you going to play...
How am I going to play Red Steel?
Without a nunchuck.
Oh, God. I remember how much they pushed that game back in the day when the Wii really launched.
That game. They were like, this is going to be the shit,
Well, it's because we were in that... that stage was just look, motion controls. You can waggle. So what do we need? We need a fucking sword game. You need to waggle with the sword. So, I got that. Ironically, it showed up pretty much when I was in the latter half of the game already anyway, but it was nice to see the immediate difference. I even posted about it.
Nice.
And... I'm almost done. I'm more or less about to approach Endgame.
Nice.
And then I'll get my hands on Prime 2 and continue that.
That's great.
That's as far as what I've been doing as far as playing stuff.
That's good.
What have you been playing?
I've been playing Idle Champions still. I still play a shit ton of Idle Champions. I passed over 1,000 hours in that game, and I keep going. It's frightening. It's also frightening because I spend money on the game. I don't spend money on mobile games. I don't spend money on any game, and then I fucking do this game all the time. Sometimes I'm just like, that $5? Fuck yeah, let's get that. It happens maybe once a week where I'm just like, is that a $5 thing? Yeah, let's fucking go. You know, I become a whale for this game where they start to be like, they give you special offers that pertain to you, and they're like, they used to be $10 offers for me because I was so cheap, but now that I spend $5 a week, they're like, here's a $20 offer, you're gonna want it. And you're like, fuck, I don't want it, but I do.
I think you need to step away.
But I really do enjoy the game, and I am so far.
I'm sure that's how everyone else justifies their in-game purchases for other games, but I'm enjoying myself. It makes me happy, okay?
It makes you happy. But I definitely have to. I have to slow down, and also it will slow down because I've gotten so far in the game that there's not much more to buy. You know, so. But other than that, I actually, other than Overwatch, because I'm playing a ton of Overwatch and watching a bunch of Overwatch. It's Overwatch playoffs. My boys on the Boston Uprising won one game, and it was the most hype shit ever. They won one game, and it was like, woo!
There's something,
but they lost the next game by like an inch. So it was like, holy shit.
There's something like deep within me that's like almost resentful at your enjoyment of this. Not because I hate Overwatch or anything like that, but I always hated sports growing up. So the fact that video games and like the rise of esports have turned a lot of like competitive games into sports just makes you like,
no, esports to shine.
I came here to get away from that. It's like the appeal of like live sims like Animal Crossing. It's like, I played games to get away from my chores. If I want to mow the lawn, I'll just go outside and mow the lawn.
Oh, come on. Esports are great, though. I love esports. And I watch a bunch. I watch Overwatch, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I watch some other stuff, but really, it's just Overwatch that I watch competitively. I watch some Valorant, but I don't really fucking get the game / want to get the game because it's just CSGO, but with flashy effects. And you're just like, and I get why the competitive scene is like, fuck yeah, to Valorant, because they're just like, it's CSGO, but with Overwatch everything. And you're like, yeah, duh. Well, that makes sense. But because, like, they probably hated that you didn't die on one shot in Overwatch. Like, because that's CSGO. It's just being like, is you dead? Okay. You know, like,
Moving on.
But then what really I've been playing, a new game, actually. Wow, holy shit. I actually played Spellbreak. So Spellbreak dropped for free on every console this past week. It's cross-play, cross-platform, cross-progression on every console, and it's basically a battle royale, but it's magic. So you start every battle by choosing your class. You have a gauntlet that does fire, earth, wind, something like, but basically it's bending.
Yeah.
It's basically fire. Like, you are punching a fireball forward. You are punching the ground and like the earth's moving forward and hitting somebody. You're like throwing air discs. It's like basically Avatar: The Last Airbender, the battle royale, which is wild, but they were just like, it's magic, you know, like, and they keep that like that aesthetic going. But what's cool about it is that it's not like Fortnite or PUBG, where when you get in a fight, it's like cut, dead.
Yeah.
You know, it's an actual fight. Like, because you have first off, you have your health bar, which is a lot. It takes a lot of damage to kill somebody, even at just their health bar. And then you have your shield on. But then what's important is that like you can just is that the fights just go on forever.
Yeah.
Is that they just made the like you hitting them, unless you hit them like with a combo of your gauntlets, because that's the cool part, is that you pick up other gauntlets. So you have a fire and you got a toxic, and you throw the fire and you throw the toxic and you got green flames. It's just like, it's an interesting game because it's a battle royale, but you fight. Like, it's long. Like, you're not just sitting there being like, boom, up, I'm dead. Okay, better jump in the queue again. It's like, oh shit, I've been fighting this guy for like 10 minutes as the circle's starting to move, and me and him have been flying around. Because that's the main draw of this game, is that you don't build like Fortnite. You fly around like a fucking wizard.
Okay.
You basically float around and everything. Everybody has a floating ability, but then you pick up abilities that do different things. One of them is you turn invisible, which is helpful. One's like you can see people on the map who are close to you. But the one that's my favorite is flight, because you basically Superman the fuck out of there. Like, your normal flight is just like, yeah, like a super jump from Mario, and then you glide down. This is like, Superman, motherfucker! And what's great about it is that it turns that, like, I've won a bunch of games. It turns that, like, last 10 people into the most chaotic fucking battle royale battle I've ever experienced. Because it's just spells being whipped out. People are flying through the air like Superman. People are just giant, just like going through the ground. People are just disappearing in front of your eyes, and you're like, where the fuck did they just go? And it's just like, it's actually really good. I'm kind of impressed.
Okay.
For a battle royale that's free, the only problem is you can tell it's young. Like, it came out this week. It's got none of the polish of the store of Fortnite, PUBG or anything, which is kind of good because it seems like they're not really trying to get your money too much. They really just want you to play the fucking game.
Yeah.
So it's not very money grubbing. So people will like that they're not sitting there being like, you want to look like the cool wizard? Better pay fucking $10. It's like all the wizard skins. You're like, that's fine. It's like Fortnite where there's no competitive advantage to buying the stuff. So really, if you want to just play the game and earn tokens, you don't.
Then you just can. That's good.
It's a solid title, and it's on everything. So fucking squad up with me, people. Let me know if you got spell break. My username's Yep Frank. But I definitely enjoy it. The fights is where it's at. I'm a Monster Hunter fan, so I like a long fight.
Oh, you're a Monster Hunter fan? I didn't
know. He did not know. If you didn't know, Deshaun edits some of my articles for Galaxy Geek, and pretty much every article I bring up Monster Hunter in some form or fashion.
Whether it's appropriate or not to really compare the two. You're just like, it's kind of like Monster Hunter. Sometimes it's just like,
is it though?
How?
Is it though? So, yes, I definitely have tried to step away from using Monster Hunter.
Yeah, only because it's just like, I get that you want to compare it to Monster Hunter, but it gets to a point where it's just like, have you played anything else?
It's just one of the series I put the most amount of time into.
I guess.
It's like,
but aside from that, the only thing else is D&D.
D&D?
Which, next session is actually our last one for this campaign, which is fun. It's going to be a big fight from what I hear. Our DM told us it will have a dungeon and a dragon. So it's like, that's nice.
That's nice.
That's nice. I'm excited for the next campaign because that's the one that's going full on homebrew. And it's convenient that we're about to finish this one. And the next one we had planned was the Monster Mash one I told you about. We're all playing like horror characters. Yeah. So that worked out well.
Well, that's a great transition, speaking of October, because I've already started watching my spooky movies.
I haven't, but I've formulated the library.
Yeah?
For those who don't know, I have the one friend who, when I first met him, was totally uncultured in anything films and TV. That's the nice way
he put it.
Yes.
They're uncultured. They're not ignorant. They're not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They're not retarded. They're not dumb.
Yeah.
Those are mean statements. They're uncultured.
Yes. And I helped him to get completely desensitized. Like, he used to be so innocent as far as like his taste in movies were concerned. Like, if anything was overly gory, he'd be like, "Oh, that's awful." He's English. So I like imitating accents. Like, "Oh, that's awful." And then a couple slasher films later, all the Saw films later, John Carpenter's The Thing later. Now he'll just like giggle at it like I would, just like whatever. So I have we usually do like 20 to 30 films every year, like of stuff that he hasn't seen yet, going through, and I'm like formulating that list. Nice. So that's fun.
Nice, that's cool. I watched a shitty movie first. We watched Hollow at Army Hammer, and the girl. Oh my goodness, she was so bad. The girl from 50 Shades of Grey, something Johnson. Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
She's like Kirsten Stewart, where she thinks that not moving her face is acting, and you're like, you need to move your face so I can see what emotions are coming out of them.
Yeah, she can be good in like certain projects, but she just ends up being like so much shit.
Yeah. But so this movie, I mean, I hopped on because Army Hammer. I was like, I like Army Hammer. He's basically Superman. Like, he should.
He was gonna play Batman in George Miller's Justice League film.
He's basically a superhero, and so I'm down for anything he's in. But he's got like the opposite. He's got like a Ben Affleck problem where he just keeps choosing bad fucking movies, and you're like, stop that. Stop. Just read them a little bit and maybe put in some input, something like just because Hollow is about I forget the name of the religion, but they believe that wounds are a dimension to another, to another place or hell. Like that's their religion. It's actual thing. It's like a real. They're fucked up people. They like they used to like hang around 20 of them and like open a wound and all stare at it like wah, and that's what this movie slightly is trying to be like. Is that like. Is tap into that. But that's basically what the Hollow turns into, is that they have a bunch of really good ideas, but no follow-through. It just turns into a weird character study about Armie Hammer's character, about how his alcoholism doesn't make him complete. So that's when they're talking about a wound or hole, they're talking about his alcoholism. Which is, I see what they were going for, but they you can tell the movie's got no budget at all. So you're kind of like, you did the best with what you could, but there's ideas here that don't go.
Yeah, anywhere. And it sounds like you could just watch The Shining instead, or read The Shining and get a better experience.
It's like, it's one of those things where you're just like, meh.
Speaking of that, have you seen Dr. Sleep yet?
I have not seen Dr. Sleep.
That is one of the films I'm like having him watch this year.
Nice. I will have to. Maybe I'll have to watch it this October. But what I did watch that was actually good, which I don't know if you've seen this. I'm pretty sure you have. Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
Oh my fuck! I've never seen Rosemary's Baby. I don't know why it always escaped me. What a weird, great movie! Holy shit! Like it's so surreal. Like
it is. It's so fucking slow.
But it's also. It's surreal, but it's also trying to make a point, and that's where I think it's like it's almost like a parody in a way,
Yeah,
like it's almost like
it helps that like it's so well made and like this sense
it's satirical.
Of
That's
and there's some
parody,
like this like satirical tone to it and the way it's framed and just its pacing, even if it can be a chore to get through with rewatches.
It's almost more relevant now than it was.
It helps to like incentivize me. Because as someone who did not grow up religious and has like a cynical view towards the idea, you have to get me with more than just the initial premise of, but the devil, devil, like that doesn't affect me like whatsoever. I still love movies like The Exorcist and The Omen for what they are because they're still effective at what they do,
what they're bringing forward. But I mean, Rosemary's Baby is less about religion than it is about. It's about how people don't listen to women, like will literally shove them down no matter what they're saying. And it's like, it's a wild story about not listening to a woman in distress. Like everybody's not listening, and it's such a crazy story because she's right like the whole time, and that's sort of a normal horror trait that like the one character's right about everything the whole fucking time and nobody's fucking listening to them. But like that's what's satirical about this is they send it to the nth degree so many times where they're like, she's like, oh my god, this is going wrong, and everyone's like, nah, it's okay.
Gaslighting the movie.
It's fine. And, like, nobody respects her space or her time or
no,
who she
not
is.
at all.
Like, the number one example is she decides to stay home, and then the two ladies just, like, burst in and hang out with her instead of being alone when she wanted to be, Like, how fucking, like, messed up is that to not even respect somebody's, like, time?
I'm surprised it took you this long to watch it.
I don't know why. It was, like, one of those things that I thought it was just going to be an Omen ripoff, but it's more about her pregnancy than it is. I thought it was going to be about an evil child. Like, Rosemary's Baby, thought there was going to be an evil baby. And I mean, there is eventually, but like,
but that it's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor, and that's what's I think so effective about the movie is it's really telling a metaphor, a satirical look at not listening to women when they're actually in distress / when they say anything, it's like, it's wild. It's like so much worse than like a kid, a teen movie where they're like, Mom, I definitely saw a man-eating clown. And they're like, get over yourself, son. Like, it's like, this is like way worse, cause she's like, literally my body is hurting me. And they're like, shut up. And then you're just like, what the fuck? But I really enjoyed this movie, and I think what really sticks for me, spoiler alert for 1970s movie, she was right the whole time. She did get raped by the devil. She does have a devil baby. They did take her baby, and she like goes and confronts them. And that scene just blew my fucking mind balls because I was like, what movie has the balls to like go this far and then take the message that far? You know, like because like a lot of these demon baby movies, it usually ends with I stabbed a baby, or like we exorcise the baby and maybe he's not evil anymore, but at the end the baby winks or something like that. You know, like
The Omen.
Yeah, the
It's
Omen
more or less The Omen.
It's like it kind of blew my expectations away. You know, like because they weren't being coy about any of it. And I love a movie that's not fucking coy about shit. You're just like, you're like, oh, fuck me. Like, it's definitely one of those movies that has stuck with me the past couple days. Just
good.
Like, thinking about it a bunch because it's effective. I thought that it was a very effective movie. But it is a slow burn.
Oh, yeah.
It's a slow burn, but like it's one of those like slow, frustrating burns where you're just like, somebody listen to this woman. Like, you're like, somebody be nice. And oh man, I thought it had a lot of balls, and I don't love Roman Polanski though. I have problems with the fucking pedophile Roman Polanski, and that he basically just gets to escape America and make films now.
Yeah.
But like, still, what an effective movie, you know? Like.
You need to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not really in the film. Because it's more specifically focused on Sharon Tate, and he doesn't tend to really be around. But just like the thinking about things in retrospect, sense of humor that film has, like they do take like little pot shots at it.
At Polanski, that's funny.
Just like he's like, oh man, it's like if he ever needed to flee the country, we could get him this way. Just like stuff like this. Just like, oh man, he's being a little suspicious.
Jesus, yeah, I need to watch that.
It's really good.
But I think it's a good way to start off some of the spooks, some shitty horror films, some really good ones.
Yeah, some trash is healthy.
Yeah, and it wasn't absolute trash. It's just like it's basically like, what about this good idea? And you're like, hey, that's a good idea, and then they're like, no, forget about that.
The only thing
like,
closest to like horror, because it's a horror show that I've been watching, because I haven't really watched any new movies since the last time we recorded an episode, is I've been watching Lovecraft Country.
Oh yeah, how's that?
It's really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
People have been gushing about it. I've been kind of impressed. It's one of those shows
Yeah,
that
it's an
takes
interesting one. You could tell it's Jordan Peele produced.
Yeah?
Yeah. So it takes place during segregation.
Cool.
Because of course it does. And it's about like this family like on this sort of cross country road trip to Massachusetts to find like his father, who's been like sort of missing in action for the past few years, and he's trying to find out where he's gone. And then as they try and find them, they sort of like stumble upon like these like occult creatures that are straight out of like Lovecraft's books.
Really?
So it's an interesting sort of like turn about it, because everyone knows, if you know well enough about H.P. Lovecraft, is that he was notoriously racist.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's interesting to like tell those types of stories with a black point of view, to sort of like take that back as a win, and it's interesting. But it's also kind of meta, because there are Lovecraftian creatures and that sort of tone within the story, but Lovecraft also exists in that universe as an actual established author in that story too. So it's kind of weird and meta, but it's really interesting.
It's like Lovecraft kind of created these things, in a way. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's already, even by the second episode, has already sort of upturned and just subverted my expectations, because you get to like this creepy house with like this cult stuff, and you think, I'm like, all right, this is where the rest of the season is gonna go.
Yeah.
And they kind of wrap up that subplot within like 2 episodes, and I'm just like, so I guess we're in just uncharted territory now. So I guess it's getting more anthology and more about different types of tales with the same cast.
Interesting. A little Scooby-Doo.
I guess. Much darker Scooby-Doo.
A wee bit Scooby-Doo.
But I am really into it. And the only other thing I've been watching is I'm like halfway through HBO Watchmen, and that's really good so far.
Nice. I will, I'm like 3 episodes into that. I need to get further. But it's definitely good. I'm impressed with what we're seeing.
So far, my favorite episode was the one focused on Sally Jupiter.
Yeah?
Or not Sally Jupiter, Laurie Jupiter. Silk Spectre 2.
Oh, I don't know if I've gotten to that episode then.
Yeah. It's interesting to see like what they do for that character because we'll get to this when we get to the Watchmen episode, but Laurie's been one of those characters that's often like criticized both in the Watchmen book and the Watchmen film as sort of like the ditziest characters, like the one who doesn't provide as strong a function as the other characters do. And what they do to her as a character now, it's like decades on, and she's like this cynical old lady is really interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I mean, I look forward to that, guys. We're
preparing for it.
We're preparing for a Watchmen episode. Big. We're watching.
Yeah, I read Doomsday Clock last week and then like jumped right into that after I was done.
Yeah, and I'm gonna watch the Ultimate Cut this week, hopefully when I have the time. Basically, are we heading into the Mario?
Yeah, we can talk about Mario.
Talk about Mario. So basically, another direct dropped. The surprise drop sort of this past week, and a lot bigger than this mini direct that we covered last time on Filthy Casuals. This was, and it was a lot more. There was a lot here to unpack. I feel like a lot of Mario content.
Yeah.
Mario's 35th anniversary, which, let's do it up.
Let's do something for it.
Let's do something. Because I know they were thinking of doing it really hard when it was going to be as open season, as possible. They were just going to do the Mario franchise real hard. But now with Corona, it's kind of like scaled back, but they're still doing it.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, we have to talk about the All-Stars collection. It's got Mario 64, Mario Sunshine,
and the first Galaxy.
Because maybe they'll drop the second Galaxy as DLC for the game.
Who knows?
But I doubt it.
But yeah, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is a nice reference to like the original All-Stars back on SNES, which had like remakes of 1, 2, and 3.
Which they have dropped.
Yes, which is now available online, which is good.
Which is great. If you have the Switch Online subscription, you basically have the game already, which is great.
I already did because of my fixed SNES MIDI, but it's nice to have that. Those are my preferred ways to like revisit those games in particular, is to have like the SNES remakes of them rather than the NES versions, so that's good. And it had been rumored for the longest time that there was supposed to be some like 3D Mario collection, and it seemed like that probably wouldn't be a thing.
It was such a rumor for so long.
Yeah, for a while.
For a long time. And I think that's because it was an open secret at Nintendo. I think it was like one of those things where it's like, yeah, we're working on a Nintendo thing, but don't Mario thing, but shut the fuck up.
3 games optimized for widescreen, and
which
Galaxy.
Thank God. Because I've played the other port of this. I've played Mario 64 on DS. I still have it. I actually booted up my DS when I moved and checked if the DS was still working with Mario 64. So I jumped around a little bit. And I can't wait to fucking see this game in widescreen. I know that sounds stupid, but like, I hate the 4x3. As a film guy, as a fucking guy who does video all day, I fucking hate 4x3. Get that fucking box out of my shit. 16:9, always.
You should work at Funimation.
I know, that bothers me too. I'm going in Funimation trying to. I jumped to Mario, but I've gotten really deep in Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I'm past the Dark Tournament. With Dark Tournament, wow. I know we're jumping around here, but wow.
That's the best arc in the series.
I was really blown away. I'm kind of.
Could you name a better tournament arc that you've seen? Because I usually bring it up when it comes to like best tournament arcs in an anime.
I mean, Cell Games. And
Cell Games isn't really a tournament, though.
Okay, then you have to go with Dragon Ball's.
The three tournaments.
Tournaments, but
all 3 of them are good, but like the second and third one.
Yes,
are
I was going
where
to
it's
say
at.
the second one is probably my favorite because it's the most visually appealing,
and it's the one. Plus, you have like the 2 rival schools of martial arts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that.
But aside from that, like the Chunin exams are sort of in its own category. As much as like I've soured on Naruto over the years, the Chunin exams are still good.
Hero.
And My Hero Sports Festival.
Which
but what
good.
helps about Sports Festival is that it's shorter.
Yes, it does its job. It gets the.
But
Yu
Yu Hakusho knows how to use its time.
Yeah, it does.
Because that arc is the longest in the series. It goes on for a while.
So there's still another 60 fucking episodes left.
2 arcs.
2 more arcs.
Yeah, Chapter Black and 3 Kings.
Are these worth it?
Yeah, they're good.
They're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, like, if the Dark Tournament's the best there is, I
do think the series peaks at the Dark Tournament, but the remaining 2 arcs are still worth watching.
Because I know that I just got to, like, Genkai just revealed that the 3 boys that beat the shit out of them was working for her.
Yeah, that's the start of the Chapter Black stuff. That's, like, my least favorite part of that arc is, like, that beginning stuff
really?
when they're in, like,
was like, hey, at least we're doing back to the, like, Spirit Detective stuff.
You'll get to it. And we could talk about it further once you're further into the arc. But my thing with Chapter Black is that the premise is fantastic. The way it's actually done leaves like a lot to be desired for me.
Okay. But going back to Mario, I'm so excited for these ports because, I have the other port. You know, like, I'm really excited about it because I want Mario Sunshine. I could give 2 fucks about 64 because I already got it on 64 and on DS. I already got it. It's 4x3, so I'm excited about the 16x9. But other than that, I don't care. It's like I've played that game. But
what about Galaxy?
In Galaxy, I don't know. I never played Galaxy.
I mean,
too much.
you're in a weird spot of just like not being too hardcore into Mario anyway.
I was going to say, if you don't know, audience, I'm not a big Mario fan. I'm a Zelda guy. That's what I'm here. That's why I'm here. Because Zelda fucking turned me into a giant fucking nerd. And I love Zelda a lot. It's one of my favorite series of all time. And when I go to Mario, I hate how fucking slippery he is sometimes. I hate how sometimes it's just
Get
I
good.
don't know. I know, but I like Sonic so much more. It's like I like the momentum feel of that instead of Mario's.
But just to clarify, I made like the dig at Funimation specifically with like the 4x3 versus 16:9 aspect ratio thing. Because Funimation is infamous for like their 16:9 cropping of DBZ, which I can't stand.
You're just like, what? What did you just do?
It's a different case when a show is originally made in 4x3 because it's old, and then you try to stretch it out to 16:9 and lose 20% of the image.
Exactly. You're like, fuck. Why did I do that? You know, like, there's. But with gaming, it can be optimized to work that way. For the uncultured swine out there, if you buy a full screen DVD or Blu-ray, I will break your fucking kneecaps.
Oh man, we used to have a bunch of those back in the day because all we had were CRTs.
I know.
And my dad,
most of my James Bond films are full screen, and I'm like, what the fuck?
My dad used to always be like, "Well, here because it shows up the whole screen. I hate the black bars." Like not realizing what you're getting, like what you're getting is what's being cut off.
Yeah, and that used to bother me so much that. It's like,
thankfully that battle is sort of like over now because like widescreen has become the standard. The new thing now is motion smoothing. That becomes a real fucking pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
Is like I had to fix it on my mom's TV when we were watching something because of course they were just like, oh, I don't know this.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see it.
I know, and it's like, and it happens with really speedy things. If you watch nature documentaries, sometimes like the cheetah will look like it's got 4 cheetahs. And you're just like, what the fuck is that motion smoothing? Like, just leave it the fuck alone.
I think I noticed it when I was watching, like, Full Metal Alchemist 2003 with my mom. The motion smoothing sort of, like, made it stutter.
Really?
Like, it made me worry because I thought it was, like, the Blu-ray at
like,
first.
Fuck.
And I'm just like, no, this Blu-ray is spotless. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. I even played it, like, on my PS4. It's just like, no, that's what's wrong with this. And then once I turned the motion smoothing off, I'm like, okay. Why do you have your motion smoothing on, Mom? You don't even watch sports. It's the only thing it's good for.
Yeah. And, I'm not a big Mario fan, but, and so I played the shit out of 64 because that's everybody's favorite Mario.
Not mine.
I've played the shit. No, not even as a kid. That wasn't like your favorite Mario.
No,
for me it was. As a kid, I was like, "That's the shit." I don't like the 2D. This is the shit.
Yeah,
you know, like
I like Super Mario World and 3. 64, I like. Like I liked it for the time. It's continued to like age poorly as it's gone on.
No, I think
there's a lot of aspects of like Sunshine that I preferred, but also didn't prefer. The way Odyssey was made was more or less just like, what if we took 64's mechanics and actually updated them?
Yeah. And that's why I think Odyssey is my favorite Mario game, hands down, no question.
Of the 3D games, I would say so. Yeah, it's definitely warm to me.
Odyssey made me well up about Mario. And I don't give a fuck about Mario.
It's so beautiful.
You're so fucking good. But it's like I'm not a big Mario fan, so like the 64 really clicked with me. I never got my hands on Sunshine the way I used to play it at a friend's house, but I never
I had Sunshine.
I never owned it. And my brother had Galaxy, and he bought the Galaxy games. And I just never...
I love the Galaxy games.
They're
so fun.
I didn't love them, and maybe I'll play them now and be really entranced now that I like Odyssey, and maybe it's steals from it.
I'm not sure how well it's going to translate to handheld mode. I know they said as far as the pointing, as far as the star bits are concerned and the pointer, it's going to be mapped to the touchscreen, which we'll see how it's done because the Wii mode is a big part of the way that game is played, and it'll translate, I'm sure, fine to the Joy-Cons.
Like Switch Lite.
But I'm talking handheld. But I'm talking handheld specifically might be a little bit of an issue.
For Galaxy specifically.
Yeah,
because of the Wii motions. I feel like this is the system to do it with. It's like it has the better motion controls.
Yeah,
it's like you break off the
so
Joy-Cons,
it's like
you're good to go.
It's available. It's a
hooked.
full $60 from what I've heard, which makes me roll my eyes. But you got to pay that Switch tax. It's apparently a full $60.
Jesus Christ, because.
Nintendo does this for every single one of their fucking ports, and it drives me insane. There's no reason those games...
What cracks me up is Jump Force already jumped down to $40.
That's because it's
literally dropped, and then everyone was like, "Oh fuck, $40."
Because it's a piece of shit. Of course, it dropped.
I pre-ordered and then didn't pick it up because the reviews were like, "This is garbage," and I know you told me it was garbage, but I was like,
you would think you would trust me more than any fake journalist.
I absolutely trust you. I absolutely do. But I played a couple of anime games and I've enjoyed them. I played the My Hero anime games.
Also trash.
They are, but I had fun. They are not good. I definitely thought they were, but I had a good time because I'm a fighting game.
You would have had a better time if they just ported Victory Versus.
Yeah.
Because Jump Force is garbage, and Victory Versus isn't much better, but at least doesn't look horrifying.
Yeah,
it's a little more fun. That was the last one before. Oh, Jump Force looks terrible
because it looks good when you watch footage. And then
the realistic models. Everyone looks all waxy. They look like Predator Ultimate Hunter edition. Everything's all smoothed out. They look like dolls. It's like ugh.
Yeah.
Because they tried to go for a semi-realistic texture to it, and it just didn't work. But yeah, if it's a full $60, I roll my eyes at it.
But it's a limited edition.
That's what really gets on my nerves.
That gets on your nerves? I think this is a good idea. Is that this is what Nintendo does.
Limited edition for physical copies didn't surprise me. I get that, especially given everything that's going on. But having it limited even on digital storefronts really fucking grinds my gears.
Okay, so the digital storefront thing is where I don't like it. Physical copies, to me, that makes a ton of sense. That's where you're making your money.
They're already older. They're already older. They're already older games. It makes sense for an anniversary thing to keep it limited. They've done similar things in the past, but for it on the digital front to be limited is stupid.
People's argument to that is that obviously they're going to have to do because every year they add a system to the Switch Online. What's next? 64. So that's what I think.
That'll get you Super Mario 64, but what about the other two?
And that's what they're hoping is that you fucking buy that game fuck now, and you don't. Have
it's dumb. I've heard the defenses, and they're all wrong. I already have enough beef as far as game preservation and availability is concerned normally anyway, especially if you want to go a legal route. They make it so goddamn difficult.
Yeah. Well, so my argument to that is that this is a port. This isn't the original games. So it's game preservation-wise, this isn't even, this isn't even
here's the thing.
Original thing.
But here's the thing. Not everyone's going to go out of their way to try and buy an old N64 to try and play Super Mario 64.
Of course not, yeah.
Or an old gameplay or an old Wii like I would.
Or a DS.
Yeah. And
Don't forget about that DS
part of the reason. That's part of the reason I tend to keep a lot of my retro consoles and still collect for them is because availability becomes more and more of a problem as we go further along.
Yeah, it's strange. It's weird. You're just no, please. I want to keep these games.
Yeah, it's just as simple as just look, I have it. I can play it. The only problem is compatibility, and I can work around that.
Yeah. I I like the limited edition thing because that's what Nintendo in their glory days was good at. You know, like you get the gold cartridge Zelda game, or you're a fucking idiot. You know, like
but you could still get Zelda otherwise.
Exactly, and that's your good argument.
Yeah, I've heard the comparison to like get it before it goes back into the Nintendo vault, and you're just like, yeah, it's just as dumb as that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But there's a couple things that are timed here. So you have the Game & Watch that plays Super Mario, which to me, pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a cute little novelty.
It's a cute novelty. If you're a nostalgia gamer, you love a Game & Watch because it's a fucking complete game. But to have like a full color Game & Watch is fucking cool.
It's definitely going to be like a collector's item that like goes quickly.
You know what I got this week at Walmart? That was stupid, and I probably shouldn't have bought it, but it was $20. A full color Mortal Kombat arcade one. You know, the little arcades.
Oh, the tiny ones?
The tiny cabinets. There was a full color Mortal Kombat. Like, I have a couple ones that are full color, but they're like Rampage, Donkey Kong, you know, like Tetris, you know, like not actually Mortal fucking Kombat, you know, like where it's the original Mortal Kombat, so it's not as like, well, it's not as good to play, you know, like 2 definitely makes Mortal Kombat better, you know, like Mortal Kombat 2 is when they were like, we understand now.
That's pretty much every fighting game franchise.
Yeah, exactly. They figured it out after
what is Street Fighter 1? No one cares.
What is Fatal Fury 1? No one cares.
Yeah.
Fatal Fury 2. It's like, it's definitely, it's funny. It's like your sophomore attempt is better. It's like, it's why Injustice 2 has stayed around for so long, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like,
at least in that case, I still had a lot of fun and got like a lot of my time in for Injustice 1, which is good for a new IP. You could argue that like the real testing ground for that was like MK versus DC back in the day, which sucked.
No, I had a ton of fun with that
Fuck
game.
MK versus
DC. It was
DC.
not good, and they limited everything, but I had a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, you just destroyed your own argument,
I know
Frank.
that, but I had a good time, Deshaun. You can't. That's the problem with games.
The only thing
you can't argue against. That
the
if you
only
had a good
thing
time with a game, it accomplished what it was there to do.
The only thing good that came out of that was that it eventually led to Injustice.
I mean,
that's the only thing that justifies its existence.
No, absolutely, because they don't kill each other. You know, like it's definitely
like I have no interest in playing a T for Teen Mortal Kombat game,
and that's exactly it. Is that it was a T game, and you were kind of like,
it wasn't even going to be originally, but they're just like,
sell it, just like no, M. This is a Mortal Kombat game, M.
Yeah,
I fucking. But the Game & Watch is cool, but but that's also limited, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But then the other weird thing that's limited is the free game that they're giving out to the Switch Online people is Super Mario 35 is what they're calling it. It's basically Tetris 99. But with Mario.
If you thought it was funny because we made the joke that like we thought we peaked with battle royales when they made a Tetris one, and now we have a Mario battle royale.
We have peaked.
Somehow.
We have found the new summit.
Somehow.
We have found the new summit. It's like I really do think this is gonna. If this is done right, this is gonna take off.
Yeah, I see the appeal because it's like
that's my problem with the limited release is that this could be a new fucking competitive scene.
Because not
like,
only is
people are really good at Mario.
Yeah, exactly. It goes back to like the World Championships back in the day on the NES, and they even try to like sort of
two-player Mario in what game is that has like the. It's Mario Versus. That's what they call it, which they dropped on Switch, and it's strange.
It's one of those things where like it already appealed to like the World Championships back in the day on NES, so it kind of pulls to that. They also try to sort of capture that same magic with like the NES remix games.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So, and then couple that with how successful Tetris 99 has been, this was kind of, even though surprising at first, is a no-brainer when you think about it.
It's a yeah, and that's the thing is it's when you hear the concept, you're like, yeah, that's a damn good idea. Basically, you and 35 other people are playing the entirety of Mario until everybody's knocked out. So, and every time you kill an enemy or do certain actions, you choose what does it. It sends enemies to the other people.
Yeah, in the same way that like depending on your actions in Tetris 99, you can sabotage other players that way.
Exactly. Which I felt was so hard in Tetris. I feel like I could be better at Mario, even though I suck at Mario.
I guess.
I could be. Who knows? I also suck at Tetris. Not so good at either. So who knows if I'll be good at these battle royales? But it's free.
Tetris isn't too difficult if you just like think for more than 1 second.
It's funny because as a kid, I didn't get it. I was like, this is stupid. Why is it so damn hard? And then as an adult, I'm like, oh, hey.
Yeah, if you just like spend the time to like think about it logically for more than a minute, then you're just like, oh, duh.
No, young Frank was all feelings, so Tetris was not exactly a good choice.
I can't see you like getting into a game that requires thought when you were a kid.
No, Solitaire was pretty much.
And that was just like struggle because that's all you had on a computer.
And also at your school computer, like you're like I don't want to pay attention.
Well, when I was in elementary school, we all had like Macintoshes back in the day, the old like color coded ones.
Yeah,
it was funny. They really went out of their way. We had like 5 tables and each of them was like a different color. Yeah. It was ridiculous. Oh, man, but so what I remembered back in the day for that was I would always like finish my work early. So it'd be like point and clicks, just like, Spy Fox and Putt Putt.
Putt. I literally just brought up Putt Putt the other day. I don't know why he keeps coming up. Putt Putt just he's living large. I brought it up to somebody who didn't grow up with it. It was so funny because they were like, what did you guys play? Because we had they were like, what was it? I was like, Putt Putt. It was a little car with a face, and he fucking
point and click.
The point and click. He solved mysteries or something. I don't know what he did.
That's really a genre that you only get with like PC gaming.
Well, Switch now with touchscreen.
Yeah, but even then,
ones on there. There's some really good ones.
Yeah, but even
Myst
then, that tends to be
course.
like its primary platform. Is that if you didn't grow up with a PC at home, then you tended to not play it.
Yeah, absolutely. I played a couple growing up, and I've played a couple on Switch now. I forget all of them, but they're from the guy who did Island of Monkeys or
Monkey Island, Secret of Monkey Island.
Yeah, that company. I've played a couple. Of
Sam and Max.
Yep, I played a couple of his games.
You ever played King's Quest?
No.
King's Quest is good. The new one, the reboot that they did a couple of years ago was great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. King's Quest, is that the one, the animated ones? Or am I mistaken?
It's another point and click type game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just confusing it. Because I'm confusing it with, what's the Bluth movies? The one with the animated, they're like basically an animated movie. And...
Oh, you're talking about like, that's Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair. That's why I got confused.
Dragon's Lair, like Space Ace.
Yeah, Space Ace, which I played those all last year because there was a Switch limited edition on that. There was a Limited Run Games put out a physical edition of that, and I bought it because I tried to play those on arcade as a kid, and I never got far. And then I found out why. You weren't supposed to.
Oh no, of course not.
You weren't fucking supposed to.
You're supposed to just feed the machine.
And like having the physical game was nice because I could just beat it. You know?
Even as a kid, those games never really appealed for me because
really, I love the animation.
Because that's what I liked. But even then, I was just like, I know it's just down to hitting a direction. You would get the same experience playing like old DVD minigames.
What are you talking about? Those are so good. What about the one on Aladdin?
What about the one in Chamber of Secrets where you have to like...
Yes!
You have to fly the car through the Forbidden Forest.
Oh my fuck, I love that. I was like, what the hell? Who made this?
It's ridiculous.
Somebody put a lot of money into that shit.
It's weird like how experimental like DVD was as a format when it first came out.
They were just like, yo, we can do computers anywhere. And you're like, what? You're just like, not really.
So odd.
It's so odd. Especially the era where they were trying to like connect it to online. They were like, you got to plug in your Blu-ray player to the internet. Like, better hardwire that shit instead of connecting it to Wi-Fi or something. And you're like, what?
Why?
Why? And they're like, because when you click a thing, it brings you to a website now. And you're like, thank you.
But I don't want
to. You're like, I don't really want this.
Yeah, I still get that sometimes when when I put usually a Universal Blu-ray.
Yeah, Universal is wild.
Yeah, where it tries to like add like the BD Live trailers and stuff like that, where they try to keep it up to date. So if you're connected with the internet and with my PS4, if I have BD Live toggled, it'll like stream the latest like in movie trailers, which I guess makes sense and is better than just like seeing old trailers for old stuff you already know about. But there's also a novelty I appreciate about that. I also noticed that when I read like old single issues of comics, like when I went for like the deep dive to like reread all Scott Snyder's Batman, seeing all the old ads like back from 2011, I was just like, like
this is nuts. We're way off topic from Mario. I feel like, but Mario 35, pretty cool idea, but limited again. They're getting rid of it. Same time they're getting rid of the physical and digital editions of the other ones.
It's dumb. And it's just one of those things where like I'm going to try and get my hands on like a physical copy for the 3D All-Stars. Yeah. But it being limited, I'm waiting for it to like sell out and then it become an eBay exclusive after the fact, where the aftermarket price is like double.
This is where they're trying to pre-order. They're like, hey, you pre-order, you don't get this fucking shit. You know, like.
So I'm just kind of waiting for my check to come in to be like, yoink.
Yoink.
Because aside from like Prime, the only thing I have is the Pro Skater remake, but like mine is coming late because Amazon is like having a shitload of delays right now. So I should be getting it by like tomorrow or Wednesday, nice. But we'll see. But I've already had my friends who got their copies. It's like, I played in Pro Skater. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, people loved it. It's like, I think. Who's the guys who run PAX East? PAX Arcade guys. They did a great comic where it looks like a little kid version of him playing the game, and it has an adult version of Tycho watches over, and then he grabs the controller, and they both turn into little kids. Mm-hmm. And you're like, it's pretty much what it sounds like Tony Hawk is like, is that you're like, you just sit down and you're like, I'm teleported to being a child.
Yeah, it's like it's like that one scene from Ratatouille.
Yes, exactly. Where you're just like, how did this happen? You're like, oh shit, I ate something so good it sent me.
But
back.
yeah, I think to sum it up, just like I think they're both good ideas. I wouldn't mind trying.
Yeah.
Like Mario 35, I don't like the fact that it's limited, especially for the 3D All Stars, because availability becomes such a problem. And I've heard the defenses, and I disagree with pretty much all of them. Just like, but it's like this. But it's like, it's until March, so you have plenty of time. Just like, but even if I'm not in that situation personally, I would still feel bad for a person who doesn't get a Switch until after March, and they might want to play like an old Mario game. Just like, well, you're out of luck because it's limited. Why did it need to be limited? It really doesn't. Again, for the physical copy, I get it. But for digital, no.
Doesn't make any sense. So other things that were in that direct, we had Mario Kart Live. Is that what it's called? It's like something like that.
Mario Kart Home Circuit, I think it's called.
Circuit. And so basically, you get an RC Mario in a kart or any of the other characters, and it's got a camera attached to the top, and you control this RC car with your Switch.
Yeah,
which is okay. This is not for me. That's immediately what's apparent to this, is that this is not for a 28-year-old.
Oh.
But my 10-year-old self is like, fuck, yes, fuck, yes,
yeah, this
fuck,
is...
Yes. Like, this is, like, a 10-year-old Frank would fucking lose his mind.
Yeah, this is something that immediately I had the exact same thought. Just like, okay, I'm not going to get it, but... Like, I would have loved this as a kid, and like, I think it's going to be huge with kids.
I had an RC track where it uses I forget what they're called, but they use like magnets to stick to the track, and then they go really fucking fast. And I would have loved to have like an open free track thing, which is what this is. You basically can lay out the track how you want in your house, and then do a Mario Kart track with your RC car through anywhere, through anything, which is really quite cool, you know? Like, I can't wait
something
to see what people will come up
like
with.
I'm sure kids will like go nuts for it,
yeah,
and it'll hit really well for them. Like, I'm sort of like too old for it. I would have loved it as a kid. I'm glad kids have it.
Yeah,
I mean, hell, it would have even been something like my dad would have loved, because my dad has had like this thing where he always wanted like a nice RC car when he was a kid, but they could never afford it. Yeah. So then when he became an adult, he bought like this huge 4-wheeler RC car that he would like drive around in the house. It was funny, just like getting what I could never have now that I can afford it. But it's funny. The only thing like RC cars I used to have was, do you remember the Dragonfly from back in the day?
Oh wow, that sounds really familiar.
It was this like X-shaped like RC car, and its gimmick was that it could like fold like this. Like I had that. That was about it.
That's cool. Yeah, we had the RC track because my dad was really into it, and then we like found a place that did races, you know. So it was funny. It was one of those places that they took it very seriously, you know. And you're like, oh Jesus, like you're like, I'm not going to spend $100 on this tiny RC car that goes by.
Oh,
trigger,
so it's like an actual like circuit.
Yeah,
that's that's a whole thing in the Yakuza games.
Yeah,
I've been like slowly chipping away at Yakuza Kiwami because man, those games have a lot of content.
Are big.
Those games, yeah, there's a lot to do in those games.
I'm always like, how do you keep putting out these games? These games are huge.
So, and this is like Kiwami, which is a remake of the PS2 game. So it's basically the PS2 game with better graphics. They're just like, so shit, even the PS2 game had this much content. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But one of my favorite things in that game is going to like those RC car circuits. And it's the funniest juxtaposition in the world because it's like this, because it's this uber serious like Yakuza member who's like killed people and beats people up and stuff like that. Who's like super into RC cars. And he's like the only one who like plays it completely straight. It's great.
That's super funny. So like as a kid, I would have been head over heels for this. I think this is a really cool idea. It's like, and I can't wait to see. It's kind of like what's the cardboard thing? Toy Cons? What was the thing? Labo. This is kind of like Labo.
Yeah, because I had the same feelings about that. Just like this will be really great for kids. I would have like eaten it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like. My future kid will like the Labo 4 or whatever they're going to fucking put out, you know, or whatever iteration of this will become better because this is like a launched console, same as the Labo. This is the first time they're doing it. You don't want this version, maybe, you know, like maybe you want the next one where they're like, hey, here's Yoshi or here's Luigi, you know, like
although Labo was like ingenious in the sense that like it cost Nintendo nothing. They basically put shovelware and they added a bunch of cardboard to it. Cardboard ain't exactly going to cost them much.
Ran with it. It's open programming, you know, like, and that's the real magic that Nintendo's trying to capture here is that like what can your imagination really do? You're the gamer.
If you give them the tools, it's like people who do crazy stuff on like Minecraft.
Minecraft or Dreams. It's like
I've seen crazy shit on Minecraft.
I've seen
like
Minecraft.
People like recreate towns and like their country, like from the ground up, and it's like specifically detailed. I saw something the other day where someone was able to boot Windows like 98 through Minecraft. It was just like, jeez.
How? Crazy. I mean, but when you're handed the keys to the castle, you know, like that's it's an important thing that I think a lot of these games are starting to realize is that if they give the keys to the castle to people, they'll run the whole kingdom. You know?
Why do you think Lego's still in business?
Well, it's why Super Mario Maker's still fucking making money. You know, like it's like. And speaking of Mario Maker, they're dropping a whole new 35th anniversary pack on Mario Maker 2. It's got some nice stuff on it. Like, I don't play Mario Maker 2 because, as I said, I don't like 2D Mario.
I would play it because I wouldn't mind like creating my own stages on it and stuff, and would want to play like the stages that aren't ridiculous, the ones that are like sort of comparable to what you would get in an official game, as opposed to like the really like how much endurance can you have, like the ridiculous reflex ones where you have to have like a shell and bouncing through spikes and stuff like that, like the crazy speedrunner shit. Like not any of that, but I wouldn't mind like making stages. It's just not a priority for me right now to get it.
Exactly. What was some other things that came out with this? So we got Mario Kart Home Circuit, we got the Mario Maker, got the 2 games. And 2 new amiibos and the other game that came out. They're dropping the 3D World games all packaged together on Switch. Which to me, I've played these games. I don't want these games.
3D World was fun.
They're fine.
Yeah.
In my sense, it's just the 2D games with a better graphic package. And
that's because you suck at the 2D games.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't like
If you stopped sucking, you would like it more, Frank.
Probably, Deshaun. As I said earlier, when you play a game, if it's fun, it's accomplished what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, more or less.
Don't have as much fun with Mario.
It's still arguable, but it's just one of those things where it's weird how oddly competitive you are, despite not being the best gamer. I'm
'cause-
calling you out.
Yeah,
On the other hand,
in my defense, I am good at certain games. It's definitely not all games. I would say mostly it's card games that I've gotten the furthest in. I was top 100 in Hearthstone at one point, and then there was, or top 500 or something like that, and then it's like, and I usually get to like top percentages in strategy games like that, like top 1% or top 2%. You know, like I played this Magic the Gathering mobile game for a while, and I was a top 1% player. You know, like there's certain games that click, and I get it. But then most of the time, most of my games, I'm either middle of the road or bad. I would say even Overwatch. I love Overwatch. I love it. But I can't fucking break out of gold rank. And most people would laugh at me for that. You know, like come on, get better. But hopefully someday I will get better. I'm hoping it's this season. but it's like it's one of those things where I love the games and I love the competitive nature of it, even if I'm not the best at it. It's the competitive strategy where I really buy into. Like the Pokemon games. I'm not the best fucking Pokemon online player. I'm not playing the card game. I'm playing Sword and Shield online. That's what I was doing for a little while. I was doing well in tournaments. I wasn't placing top 10, but I was doing well, you know, like same thing used to happen when I would play Magic the Gathering in actual like Friday night Magic or drafts. Is I would either do extremely well and place like top 3, or I would just suck and drop out really fast. You know, like it's just like, oh,
you would totally be a mid-maxer player if you fucking like really got into D&D.
Yeah, well, it's like I mean, I don't min-max everything in certain games, but when it get into an RPG and there's a way to be like, okay, well, this is the way to make this guy perfect. You know, like you're like, well, fuck, yeah, I'm gonna do that. You're like,
and your mileage will vary depending on the DM.
Yeah,
I know. Like my group is sort of dreading the day I like DM a campaign because I will be cruel and unusual.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
It'll be fun, I
It'll
swear.
Be a good time.
It'll be swear, but if you annoy me, I'm going to punish you for it.
Oh, God. The God complex
The
of
power.
of the DM. And basically, so this direct, the Mario 3D World, and it comes with an added DLC that's never come out before. Bowser's Fury. Important part for me, as you know from listening to these Filthy Casuals, I'm a big amiibo guy. They're dropping 2 amiibos. I'm not fucking getting those amiibos. I don't know if you saw them. It's Catsuit Mario and Catsuit Peach. And Mario's doing a weird pose, and Peach is doing a squat. And you're just like, this is some furry ass shit, and I'm not buying it. Like, I'm not.
What are you so afraid of furries for, Frank? The furries have done nothing to you, Frank.
They have done nothing to me. This is some weird furry shit. Is all I'm saying.
You'll be fine. Watch Beastars. It's okay. It's a good show.
No, you will not make me.
The furry shit of Beastars is only like 15% of it. Only in the sense that, like, it's a show that's not afraid to be horny.
Yeah, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's the part where I'm like,
and that would still be there even if, like, they weren't anthropomorphic characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what it's really about is just like, oh, it's like a metaphor for, like, you know,
but did you
instinct
see
versus.
They're like really detailed amiibos of Mario in a yellow catsuit and Peach in a pink one, and you're just kind of like, these are strange.
Stop being afraid.
No, these are weird amiibo. In a world where they're not dropping many amiibos, you're like, why the fuck was this the choice? You know, like Mario's 35th anniversary. Why is there not Mario in a cool outfit? Mario, like, there's so many ways to do an amiibo better than furry
but
Mario.
3D World is coming, so it's an easy tie-in.
They've already done the 8-bit Mario.
Yeah,
I have that one. And it's
and they did a couple Odyssey ones, so
yeah, and yeah,
it makes
sense. I got those.
It makes sense to me, Frank.
I'll tell you what
I'll tell you what
Mario Sunshine.
I was about to say not that, but what they could have done would be a low poly 64 style Mario.
Yes. See, that would have been cool too.
That could have worked.
There's money I feel like every fan of Nintendo's like this. You're like, why? Nintendo, you're leaving money on the table. Like, all the time.
After I had finished Samus Returns, I had found out that game actually has a fusion mode.
Oh.
But you can only unlock it through the amiibo. But it's cool because they like add the X parasites from Fusion in as enemies, and Samus is in the Fusion outfit. Just like, that's cool. I'm not getting the amiibo to unlock it. He's like, but that's cool. I can play AM2R.
Wait, which amiibo do you need?
I think it's the one it's the Metroid one.
Yeah, shit.
The Metroid in the jar.
Because I have a bunch of Samus ones. I have Dark Samus, I have Samus, and I have Zero Suit Samus.
I think it's specifically the one that's like the Metroid breaking out of the jar.
Because I was like, Dark Samus would be fucking sick.
But again, like, I don't care. AM2R has a fusion mode too, and that's a better game. And I don't have to pay for an amiibo to unlock it.
Well, if I do get the amiibo, I will let you borrow it.
I'm not playing Samus Returns again. If I revisit Metroid 2 in any function, it's going to be AM2R.
All right.
Samus Returns was probably the most frustrating one of those so far. Like, it really got on my nerves sometimes.
I know this isn't part of this mini direct, but I thought it was interesting because they're all over. I don't know if you've been to a Target or a Walmart recently. They have the Mario Legos everywhere now. And I know that they were pre-order before, but now it's like they have the main Mario set, which is fucking expensive, but then they have all the little sets that go with them, which is cool. Like, that's the stuff that's cheap, and you're like, hey, cool, I bought an outfit for Mario.
What I like about the Mario Lego stuff is that it could have been just as easy to just be like, here's an official Lego set.
Mario, yeah.
But the fact that Nintendo is just like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to gamify this and try to make it unique. And I like that they went with that aspect for it.
I think that's exactly it, is that they like any other Lego set, you could have just given me a Lego set. I would have been like, cool, like
the Lego NES and like TV was also kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's Lego. Lego are expensive.
Did you see the new Lego Arts? I like these. It's a flat piece of Lego, and you put in the colored things to make a mosaic that makes Darth Vader, Maul, or somebody else, or they have Marilyn Monroe in different colors, at Andy Warhol style. Really cool. So expensive, like $200.
Lego's expensive. Lego's expensive.
But like for me, for that one, you're like, that's an art project that I could do if I just bought like the $40 bag of Legos, like of random Legos.
But would you?
No,
exactly.
That's the thing, and that's where they get you. If your like kid had a bunch of Legos and you wanted to do this, easy. But if you don't, that's how they get you.
Yeah, but you are paying for quality.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is very nice looking. It looks really nice.
Just the idea that just like Lego's still around, and the fact that old pieces from like when they first started making those are still compatible with like you are paying for quality. Yeah. I spent a lot on that fucking 1989 Batmobile, but I love it and I'm glad I have it.
It's awesome. And I mean, there's so many good Legos there, but I don't know how we could. I mean, we started talking about Lego Mario, and I was just like, "Oh, Legos.
We could talk about Legos."
I was like,
we've more or less covered the Mario stuff.
Yeah, I think we got it all. And I just feel like Lego is always a fine line for me. It's like where it's like, "Ooh, that's cool," and then you're like, "That's expensive." Fuck.
That's why I wanted the 1989 Batmobile is my favorite one.
Yeah,
and I've always wanted just like a nice one to sort of scratch that itch so I wouldn't have to worry about it. Yeah. I always wanted it to be like a Star Destroyer. I've always wanted like a huge fucking like Star Destroyer. But so when they said, it's like, okay, 1989 Batmobile, I'm like, all right. And it's fucking huge. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So I could just like get the beast out of me.
Get the beast out.
Just get it out of my system. And it pretty much is.
Oh, that's what I wanted to bring up. Did you see the new Lego that just dropped this week was Diagon Alley?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh my fuck, dude. So nice. Like, so nice. Like, if you had it set up for like a snow time, like that's what I'm thinking. It looks like a full store shop, of Diagon Alley. And basically, the important part to me, and as a guy who loves Universal Parks and going to like Disney parks and stuff like that,
I'm a guy who would love to go to Universal Parks. I would love to go.
Is that you can basically remake the Diagon Alley from Universal Park, which is directly out of the movie, with this Lego, you know, like, and it's really detailed. What was great is that they released it with the actors Fred and George like playing with the set. Like that's how they released the like their official promotions. It's just them like hanging around the Lego set, being like nice, you know, like. And for me, that is always a cool way to like bring in fans, is being like, hey, you like these actors? Here's them playing with Lego, like, and you're like, ooh, that's nice. It's expensive.
That is cool.
It's expensive. It's like the Lego Hogwarts set. It's fucking expensive.
I used to have the Quidditch field when I was a kid,
and that one's not that expensive now. It's like $40 or $30.
Well, it wasn't that big because it was kind of tiny. Yeah. If it was like a full on
stadium,
like stadium with like the towers and stuff, that'd be one thing. But it was really just like a small court with the goalposts.
I was a big Quidditch kid. I was a huge Quidditch kid. It's like as much as I didn't play Quidditch. I wasn't out there on a broom with the ball running around with kids trying to play Quidditch.
That'd be very sad.
But we had a Quidditch card game me and my brother played, which was actually pretty kind of cool.
I used to play the Quidditch World Cup game on PS2.
Yes, fuck yes. Please if you're doing Tony Hawk, let's talk about doing a modern Quidditch game.
What a way to trick me into playing a sports game.
Yeah, right?
Because I would never fucking play a sports game otherwise. This is like tricked me by making it Quidditch.
I really enjoyed Quidditch. I had Quidditch Through the Ages as a book, and like I really thought it was one of the cooler parts.
I always thought that was the better way to go with these like new movies.
Yeah.
Like Fantastic Beasts 1 should have just been a standalone.
Yep.
Or if you were going to do sequels, it should have just been about Newt traveling to different places and experiencing different creatures instead of trying to make it like the Harry Potter prequel trilogy shit. Yeah. And then from that on, it should have been like an anthology.
Yeah.
Just like Quidditch Through the Ages, you could have done different aspects of like a history of magic. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. There's so much to do, and you're kind of. It's like it's so funny. It's. J.K. I think to blame is J.K. Rowling. She shoots herself in the foot constantly.
Oh, more ways than one.
Exactly.
And then doubles down on it. So hard. God.
Hard. It's like it's just so she's so stupid sometimes. It's like it's like I will never frown down on her charity work that she's done, giving away most of her charity. Like that's really cool. But why the fuck are you a terrible TERF? Like, and also, more or less. And then also, why with Cursed Child and with the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, why tie them in so much? You know, like it's if you listen to our show, you will absolutely love Lindsay Elias. Go watch her YouTube videos. She does a great one on the death of the author, where what happens after a book's out. Do you have to listen to the author or even take in their account on a story? You know, like it's an and there's not asset.
Yeah, it's great. And the thing about it is that there's not really like a black and white answer.
No, because you want an informed art. You know, like you should know who's making your art. You know, like you shouldn't just take it in blindly. And be like,
and it's going to vary from person to person. That's actually something they bring up in Lovecraft Country because Lovecraft exists as an author in that universe. Is that the main character is actually a fan of H.P. Lovecraft. And one of the first things that they address is just like, what H.P. Lovecraft as a man was, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, my father like made me read his like more racist stuff as a kid when he found out that I was a fan. And he has like this meditation where he's just like, sometimes you need to like appreciate what people bring to the world as art, even if they're flawed individuals. Yeah,
it's true. It's like I feel that way about Kevin Spacey.
I feel that way about a lot of things because everyone gets called out for everything now.
But it's like it's Kevin Spacey is a personal monster. Like he abused people, and it seems like he's scaring these people who are bringing him to trial.
Yeah.
You know, like I will not say that he's done anything wrong because nothing's been proven in court, but like he's being kind of scary about it.
Yeah.
You know, like and but like the man has brought such great characters to life. You know, like he's done great work, but. Also, this is
the struggle,
but he's also been an asshole in a lot of roles, and it's kind of like, why do you think we cast him as an asshole? Like, you know, like if he wasn't an asshole, you know,
it's just one of those things where it's a struggle because it happens so often now that I can't enjoy a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where...
And then there's where they go too far, like the whole Dan Harmon kick up.
That was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous because...
Even the James Gunn thing.
Yeah, even the James Gunn thing went too far, and everyone knows that. Even Disney knows that.
Yeah, now.
Because now they know that. But, like, the Dan Harmon thing didn't even kick up a scuffle because everyone was like, stop. This is... he did that years ago. He knew it was wrong then. That's the joke. And then he apologized for it. What more do you need?
That was the funny thing about James Gunn. He already made a public apology years before they tried to call him out on it.
It's a hard argument because should you joke about pedophilia? Yes, if you have a joke, yes, if you have a real joke, say it. And that's the thing about Dan Harmon's thing. I watched it. He's got a joke there, it may not come through, but it's a joke.
It all depends.
It's the James Gunn edginess, where it's like, you might not laugh at it, but somebody might.
I probably will.
Exactly. Especially for James Gunn things. Some of his edgelord stuff was so just like me.
Yeah, but if you watch any of his movies, you're just like, yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's with the James Gunn thing, it's like you knew who you were hiring, and it's not like he's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
He just said some edgelord stuff. It's not like he was going out being a Nazi. Mm-hmm. Like some people, like Vonnegut, and so many other shitty actors.
But it could really just be boiled down to be like, hey, that was in bad taste, and then just leave it at that.
Exactly. Exactly. But
my argument generally is just like it's always case by case. And to be honest, like the cynical side of me is always just like, if you based the art and entertainment you consumed by the morality of the person making them, you probably wouldn't be able to consume much entertainment or art because people are people.
Yeah. And your morals doesn't always apply to other people, like that's not, you might be a hardcore Christian, but that doesn't mean that everybody's got to follow your fucking Christian beliefs, like that's, stop forcing it on people. It's like, it's exactly that. It's like, you're just like, what? Stop. Just let people do what they want.
But
be
Frank,
happy.
How else can I make myself feel any better by getting them clout points? I need clout.
I need clout.
I need everyone to know I'm a good guy.
But basically, it's a pretty good direct, but it's questionable decisions.
Yeah.
I would say if we're going to sum up our direct thoughts, I think that this is cool. This is what we've wanted. It definitely gets me hyped for 35 years of Zelda next year. Give me these games.
Metroid's 35th anniversary is next year too, right?
Exactly.
I don't expect much, except maybe we'll get some more stuff on Prime 4, but that's about it.
If we don't get Prime 4 or remasters of the other three, I feel like they failed Metroid. It's like these games.
Here's the thing: before the announcement of Samus Returns and Prime 4, they were failing Metroid for the longest time.
Yeah, and
that's part of the reason AM2R blew up as big as it did, because there was nothing else, and then the fact that it was such a good game in its own right, despite it being completely fan-made.
It's wild because it's so funny that the Metroidvania has fallen to the indie gamers.
Yeah.
It's fallen to a bunch of indie developers to carry the torch, and they are carrying the torch. Steam Quest is fucking great,
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Really
there's
cool
Metroidvanias. There's Bloodstained, there's Hollow Knight, a bunch of them.
Oh, fucking so good. And it's sad to see the original kings walk away from it.
Yeah, it's weird because it happened because of Other M's reception. And yeah, Other M is bad. But that didn't mean we didn't want any more Metroid games. Yeah. We just didn't like the bad Metroid game you decided to do. Yeah. And what really sucked about Other M was not only was it bad, but it also tried to ignore the Prime games.
Yeah.
Because as good as the Prime games were, they weren't made by Nintendo directly in-house. They were outsourced to another studio.
Yep.
And Other M was the original creator. And so there's this sense of ego and hubris with Other M. Just that's not true Metroid. This is true Metroid.
Yeah, it's and then the Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, and then everyone fucking hated it.
You're we took it away from the creator. What do you think? And they're like, no.
But that's a different case because the Prime games were good.
Yeah. It's true. It is a different case.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's they take it away from them, but they were able to accomplish it because they were Platinum, right? It's Platinum who does
Prime knows
games.
Retro Studios.
I just think that it's so dumb that in a world where Metroidvanias do so well on the indie scale, and I mean like big money, like these aren't like tiny games. He's bringing cash.
Yeah.
You know, like Dead Cells is still going strong. Like, you know, like Dead Cells is one of the better Metroidvanias.
Yeah, even Hollow Knight has like Silk Song whenever that comes out.
Exactly. They're raking in money, and it's kind of like, why Nintendo are you sing on these things? I do hope that we start off 35 years of Zelda really strong. Is basically it. You know, like if we're doing this strong with Mario, do the real moneymaker.
Mm-hmm.
Do like Mario makes money, but like do the real moneymaker. It's like I at least want another Breath of the Wild 2
I'm sorry,
trailer.
Frank. Who is Nintendo's mascot, Frank?
I know.
You show some goddamn respect.
I know, but his best-selling game is Mario Kart. You know, like if you look at the Mario series, no matter how it's sold, the best selling.
And you're lucky your precious Link is a guest.
Yeah, right.
He is a guest in this house.
He's so funny. He looks so fucking happy.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Game. I love that. It's like he's smiling and having a good time. Like he just was invited, and he's been waiting his entire fucking time to go kart with Mario. Like,
I mean, there's some easy money they could already have because they had like the HD ports of both Wind Waker and Twilight Princess back on the Wii U. It would be as simple just to be like, there you go.
I think there's going to be a Master's Quest version of like how they put all the Four Swords games together and all the other games that were on on GameCube. I think they're going to do like a Master's Quest where it's going to have a bunch of games attached to it, just like this. But if they're smart, they'll do 2. Instead of just 3 games of Mario and done, they'll do like, here's Master Quest Part 1, and it's like it's like Ocarina blank blank blank, and then you have Part 2, and it's like all the other ones. Like, if you are going to repackage these games to me instead of just giving me a way to buy them like I could on the DS or the Wii, put them out nice.
Yeah, it helps
you know,
to have some sort of incentive.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is you gotta have the incentive.
I do like the quality of life changes for Wind Waker. That alone and like the updated lighting effects and stuff like that would be enough for me to rebuy it, especially since getting a copy of Wind Waker on GameCube is a little pricey now.
It's expensive. It ain't cheap.
Yeah.
But I really do think that hopefully they really dive hard on these anniversary things, because I think it's about to make them a shitload of money. And then you can just do it with Zelda again.
Yeah,
and
it's such an easy thing to just be like, here you go.
Here's the thing.
Because look, like I know Skyward Sword by reputation, but I've never actually played it, and I always have like some trepidation about being like, it sucked because I heard it sucked.
Yeah.
I would like to play it for myself to make a judgment call.
But
because even something, I mean, I have a Wii now, I can play it. But it's just one of those things where, like, even something as divisive as Twilight Princess, like, I like it for what it is and accept its flaws and know its flaws. But Twilight Princess is a funny one for me because it's, like, the rise of Skywalker for Zelda fans because, like, isn't this what you wanted? This is what you get for bitching about Wind Waker. This is what you wanted, right? Now shut up.
I guess, but
by the time... But we had brought this up before. By the time they had gotten to Skyward Sword, that, like... formula that had worked so well for Ocarina of Time had long since been overdone. That's why Breath of the Wild needed to like change things up.
Yeah, I'm excited about Breath of the Wild 2. I think that we're going to see some news soon.
I hope it sort of like parallels like a Majora's Mask type thing.
Where it's darker.
It's darker. It has like its own like nuance and stuff like that. Because as good as Ocarina of Time is,
it looked from the first trailer, it looked darker.
Well, it's just one of those things where like it could potentially be better if they like change some like the more annoying things about Breath of the Wild. Because, like, in retrospect, like, as much as I love Ocarina of Time and prefer playing it and revisiting it, I find that Majora's Mask overall is probably the better game.
Yeah, I think that Ocarina is iconic. Mm-hmm. It creates all that iconography with the way the Gorons look in 3D and the way it's the only time they were like consistent on the Zoras. Was the first time was Ocarina. The other times they were just like, sometimes they pop out of the water and they spit at you, and other times they look like fish, and other times they look like this, and you're just like, what the fuck are they? Like, and then in Ocarina, they were at least like, they're fish people. Like,
yeah.
And then Majora's Mask was like, but what if fish people had a band? And you're just like, you got me there. Like, you got me
Also,
there.
fish furries are fine, huh, Frank?
I'm gonna give you an on that one. I'm still not okay with it. Like, but I do like the Zoras.
Why are you so afraid, Frank? They're not going to convert you. It's fine. It's all right. You'll be okay.
We're not going deeper on this. But is there anything else you want to?
I do want to bring up the Chadwick Boseman thing.
The Chadwick Boseman thing. Yeah. Yep. This is some sad news.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Chadwick Boseman, everyone knows, passed away. Like literally everybody knows. But like the really sad part is that he had been fighting colon cancer for years.
Yeah, for the past 4 years, I think they said.
And basically was able to do a bunch of movies,
Mm-hmm.
big movies,
Yeah.
like iconic movies during this time. And it's kind of incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it's very interesting.
And people were already worried like a few months back because they had seen like videos he had done and stuff like that where he had gotten like really thin. And I had never seen those until after he had died.
Me neither.
But I remember like seeing him comparing like his appearance in like Civil War to Black Panther to like Infinity War and Endgame, and I had noticed that he had like started getting thinner.
It's like it's really sad. The guy. Mainly I gotta say he knows legacy. Like he set up a fantastic legacy and basically was able to do some iconic movies.
Yeah, even beyond Black Panther, you had him as like
Jackie
I used to
Robinson.
make the joke that like Chadwick Boseman is like hogging all the black icons because he had done Jackie Robinson and James Brown and then hit it big with Black Panther. It's just like Chadwick Boseman's coming for all your iconography.
He's like, don't flex on me or I'll do Ali again. And
Yeah.
Will Smith's like, no. But I really think this was a great actor we lost too young. Not only beyond just Black Panther, of course, had more to do, but like this guy, it just could have kept going. I thought he was when they did 42. Was it 42? What's the one that they did with the Ruscio brothers afterward? 42 Blocks?
Something Bridges.
Something Bridges.
Yeah.
21 Bridges.
Yeah, I think it's 21 Bridges.
21 Bridges. It's like, I saw that and I was like, this guy is the next leading man. This is the next Denzel. Like, this is the next guy who you're just going to see in movie after movie after movie. And he started to do that, and then he can't,
Yeah,
it's sad.
I wonder where that leaves Black Panther as a property for the MCU specifically.
I think it's offensive to recast him.
For now.
For now. No, not for now. I think you do what the comics do. You bring in Suri. You don't like you bring in Suri as like a
I think that's the easiest way to do it and make it feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think it could work, absolutely. I don't necessarily I think we're still like reeling from like the death because it's such a recent thing. I don't think it's a case where it would be sinful to recast them like down the road.
I don't know. I think that
because this isn't the first time it's happened.
No, but this is the first time it's happened to a major character that we've lost them. Like I don't like talking about what comes next for Black Panther because it seems disrespectful to be immediately.
Because there's like,
what about my favorite property? It's like because this is a man's life and he
but
touched people.
But it is interesting to think about just because Black Panther was huge,
no, it's true.
and it was clearly going to be like their continuing big on franchise from that
They
point.
were going to be filming Black Panther 2.
Yeah,
that was supposedly happening, and then who knows? So I think you got to do. Okay, I have this weird fan theory in my head. You basically next big movies are Annihilation or whatever the fuck, or you bring in Galactus or whatever the fuck you're gonna.
I mean, they have Galactus now.
Yeah,
so.
now they have the Galactus. Whoever you're gonna bring in as the main villain, if it's not Annihilation or whatever, you have kind of a Bucky Winter Soldier scene where you basically lose Black Panther in like a really fast fashion. So it's not disrespectful, so it's not like we're reusing footage of a dead person, like they did, like they kind of do with Rise of Skywalker, where you're like, Carrie Fisher.
Yeah,
like, you're like,
yeah. I don't blame them for that in Rise of Skywalker because it was just such an unfortunate situation that like the one of the original main three that they did leave alive as far as the movie was concerned was the one that passed away. So that was just like, it's not like you can predict that kind of stuff.
And that's what's, I think that's how you do it, is that you have like Suri kind of have to step up after like somebody just like blinks away Black Panther, you know, like kind of like he does when the snap comes, how he, you know, like it's just like people start disappearing, you know, like it's just like
it's one of those things where like that's the easy way to do it, and because the MCU is like a continuing universe that doesn't have a reboot, that's pretty much your only option.
I think so. I don't. It's like, of course, they've replaced Rhodey. You know, like like. But and
even then, I think to like Heath Ledger and stuff like that. Yeah. Again, and like as sad as it is to say, like it is a business, and we move on. And Black Panther at this point has become an icon, so it'd be weird not to recast him at some point. But we have the advantage of a continuing universe when we can pass the torch.
True, but also, I think that's it. Is that you pass the torch down to Suri, and you kind of, as much as Black Panther empowered little boys, the Suri would be able to empower little girls, you know, like in the same way. And Suri was already a big character. So it's not a huge. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. Sorry. It's like she's already a big character in the Black Panther movie and Endgame.
Yeah, she was like a fan favorite.
So it's like it's not a huge financial leap to me to be able to be like Black Panther 2, Suri's Black Panther now because of something, you know, like it's like something happens where either you kill Black Panther or you have him disappear, you know, like a snap or a teleportation to somewhere or something, you know, like and maybe then I don't know. It's like it's
all speculation at this point.
It's a hard move, and that's really
and it's not something that
Same thing as Carrie Fisher. It was a hard move,
and it's not something I think they'll really have to address anytime soon anyway.
No.
Because we've already had like the big event with Endgame. Like I'm sure Marvel's like edging away from that for a while.
Yeah,
we have like
Black Widow's an obvious indication of that.
Yeah, and we're also like starting to introduce like new characters and stuff like that, and also give sequels to people who haven't gotten sequels yet, stuff like that.
Yeah, if they're smart, they do Young Avengers.
And there's also the focus on the Disney Plus stuff, like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I think they're dumb if they don't do Young Avengers Disney Plus series. As long as not animated, like
as long as it's good, I don't care. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be Young Avengers. You can just do a new Avengers team.
Speaking of good, I know X-Men New Mutants finally came out, and I hear that is bad. Somebody said it was worse than Dark Phoenix, and then somehow worse than X3, and then somehow worse than X-Men Wolverine Origins, which I'm like, how could anything be worse than those three movies? You know, like, you're like, how? You know, like, how could you do that? Especially with reshoots. They reshot this movie 1 billion fucking times. Like, how could you
release the original cut?
No. Don't release the original cut. Whatever was the original cut was so bad that Disney delayed this for 2 fucking years. You know, like, Fox delayed it. Then Disney delayed it when they got their hands on it. Like, that's how bad this movie was, you know? Like, and New Mutants is such a good idea, you know? Like, it's such like, they're more famous than Young Avengers, you know? New Mutants is more famous than Young Avengers, you know? Like, same thing as X-Force.
I don't even think we need, like, Young Avengers for the MCU. You can really just make a new Avengers roster. Especially since we're introducing more characters as we come along.
Especially because there used to be, you know, during the Civil War stuff, there's the regional Avengers. Yeah. You know, like, so
you can just sort of lean into that.
Oh, man. I would love Avengers
since,
West.
like...
I would love an Avengers West. Like, that would be really fucking
because Endgame was more or less sort of like a goodbye to the original, like, roster we got in the first Avengers movie.
True.
More or less.
True. Because pretty much everyone's gone. You know? Like, you're like, oh, fuck. Like, so,
Like even with like the other stuff, I'm sure Hulk will make like appearances in other stuff.
Yeah.
And Hawkeye has like his own show, but even then, I'm sure that'll end up being a passing to the torch to Kate Bishop.
It's kind of funny because why wouldn't they think of that instead of doing Inhumans, instead of doing New Mutants? You know, like why would they not do another Avengers team?
Inhumans was a weird one because it was in the spot where the feuding between like Fox and like Disney owning Marvel, so there was like that push to try and like make Inhumans like the X-Men, but then also sort of like de-emphasize the X-Men in the comics. It was a shitty situation. The movie should never affect the comics that way.
No, definitely not. So basically, that's pretty much it.
I think so. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. We loved you in so many movies, and it's really sad to see such a young star that could have gone on to be like the next fucking Robert De Niro. You know, like that's my problem. Is that like this guy could have been like a Robert De Niro?
Yeah, it directly reminds me of like Heath Ledger, like Brandon Lee before that with The Crow, where you're just like
these guys
on the cusp.
Yeah, like literally. That's the thing is like Heath Ledger was on the cusp, but like Chadwick Boseman was hitting his stride. Yeah, you know, like this is like.
It was like the beginning. It was like just the beginning of like his renaissance. You know what I mean?
It's like in the middle of his renaissance. That's what's crazy. Yeah. You know, like it just feels so just like damn it. You know, like it just it really hits you. But now he's hanging out with Stan Lee, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's all right.
We all want to hang out with Stan Lee. But thank you guys for tuning into The Warp Shelf. We are everywhere you listen to podcasts. Please check out our site, galaxyofgeek.com. But also in new things, we have a Discord server.
Yes.
I started a Discord server this past week.
Come and join it before it gets too big and obnoxious.
Too weird. But it's fun right now. We're having a good time. There's a Fight Club section where you can fight about random shit. And there's a bunch of other great categories to talk. But important, we'll put news there. It's like stuff that I don't want to put on the Facebook page because it'll get lost in the algorithm, so what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put in the Discord, you know, like fun things. Like last episode I was like, hey, this next episode we're coming out about comics is the longest episode we've ever done. You know, and you know, that's fun little shit. But important though, I think we should start to do at least a monthly movie night on Discord or something like that, where we'll watch a movie.
I can do that.
Like that. It might even happen in between our records when we watch a movie. We'll just boot up Discord and you guys can listen into us watching the fucking movie. You know, like
I basically do that with my buddies in my own Discord server anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Is that we just use it that way. It's do stuff that would probably be copyright infringement if we did it on a podcast. But
we couldn't directly like stream it. This isn't like a reaction video or anything.
Exactly.
But like commentaries would be fun.
Exactly. I think it would be really fun to do that type of stuff with the Discord. I think Discord opens up a lot of
I really want to do it with like shitty comic book movies.
Yeah, right.
Like I want to watch like Superman 4.
Oh,
something that's like garbage, but like you're just so amazed at the audacity of this movie that you're just like, what?
Like, the balls!
Yeah.
So we got that, but also hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Yep Frank on Twitter.
And I'm Karaika.
And basically, we want to talk to you guys. We want to chat. We want to talk movies, video games. And please let us know if you guys want to talk about anything. If you think that you have a great episode, please go to our Discord and let us know.
Yeah, give us some suggestions.
I would love that. I would love to do that. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you really enjoy these filthy casual episodes, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
See you next time.